We are dealing with people's lives in the coaching industry. What you say to them and how you say it to them will fundamentally pick them up or help them fly. When a customer asks for a refund, sometimes you didn't actually deliver the thing that you said you would. The only way that we are going to change humanity is by people starting to, you cannot mass produce coaches. You cannot mass produce results. So stop promising that you can. You can talk about the knowledge as a coach. You can talk about the things that you've learned, the parts that you've taken from all these different courses you've done. But if you have not embodied it, how can you stand in front of somebody and coach them on it? So if you want to stand out as a coach, start.
Welcome to Life by 8, your blueprint for designing your ultimate life. I'm Rebecca Grugan, your architect on this journey to building a life fully lived. Using our 8 Pillars to Human Wellness framework, we'll explore how to transform your everyday from ordinary to extraordinary. So let's go.
Okay, sit down or walk, but either way, just buckle yourself in because I am going to talk about the fucking coaching industry, right? So, for the last decade, the demand and growth in the coaching industry has been absolutely exponential. In Australia, it's currently, in 2023, it was valued at $3.6 billion. I know, that is quite a lot of money for a relatively new industry, right? So, what I want to talk about, though, is all the fucking bullshit. Because if you've been looking for one, or you've hired one, or you are one, there's probably things that you agree with and disagree with. And if you disagree with most of the things I say today, fucking you're welcome. And though, if you agree with me, please let me know below your thoughts, because this is how we make change. This is how we make transformation, is when we start to actually speak on the bullshit. When we speak about the elephant in the room, we actually start to make change for humanity, because coaches are needed, right? So that we need more coaching, we need more mentoring, we need more humans supporting humans. As we move to an oversupply, so this means that there's more coaches than willing clients to pay. This is when an industry becomes ripe for disruption. Because the thing is, right, is that what happens when you have people coming out of a $17 online course with a coaching certification, or people going into a personal development training room and coming out going, I can be a coach too, even though that wasn't their intention when they went in. What happens when this happens on a scale is that governments start to pay attention, because they have to, because you start to have people whose mental well-being is affected, where psychological safety is actually at risk, where there's people who are coming out of these trainings. I have seen it for myself firsthand. They come out of this training and a number of weeks later are fucking suicidal because they don't think that they are good enough. They were told they could be something. They were made a promise, a generalized blanket promise, that if they just did this next course, if they just did this next thing, then you'll get to be just like me. Why the fuck does anyone want to be just like somebody else? First up. But the government and regulation starts to have to become required because the industry cannot come up with the rules and the safety itself. There are cowboys in this world, in the wild, wild west of personal development, as it is in Web3, which I'll speak on later, right? Anything that is new, anything that is growing exponentially, where there is no regulation, there will be people who get fucked over. The thing that I struggle with, and yes, it's a choice to struggle with this, but I have been trying to find the fucking answer, is we are dealing with people's lives in the coaching industry. The work that you are doing with somebody will either make or break them. What you say to them and how you say it to them will fundamentally fuck them up or help them fly. And when you think and feel like you've made them fly, it feels great for you, doesn't it? So for many coaches, they're coaching for the external validation they get for themselves that they helped somebody. Yes, I get that too. It's great. But fundamentally, it has to be about the other person, not you. The more that you say no as a coach to clients who are not for you at that time, that is not right and you're living in alignment, great. But if you're saying yes to everyone because of the money and this promise that you make that you can help everybody, it is eventually going to fuck somebody over because you cannot deliver effective coaching, individualized on scale with just you. So stop promising everybody that if they just did what you did, they could be like you too, because you set people up for failure. And even though in NLP we talk about there's no such thing as failure, failure is only feedback. Great. Well, those failures that you're getting, can you please start taking that feedback on? Because we need to change this industry, because coaching actually genuinely is needed and can help people. We have a mental health crisis, not just in Australia, but across the world. There are not enough people becoming psychologists or therapists. Universities are not able to keep up with the changes that's needed in the curriculum to make sure that people are coming out qualified or with the information. They can't. It's the same shit that they're talking about from 60 years ago, 40 years ago. And that's why coaching is so effective, because you can use somatic work, things like breath work, knowing that it's a bottom-up approach rather than from the head down, which a lot of traditional talk therapies do. Coaching can be fucking beautiful and transformative. And there is an absolute need for high-quality coaching and mentors. But the industry does need regulation before more people's psychological safety is impacted. If you are not aware that there are people who are leaving after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in trying to fix themselves and do all the things that these people say, do this, you'll be just like me. If you are not aware of the suicide rates, then you've got a fucking problem. Thousands of people feel like they've been ripped off by coaches in this industry. I can see how easily this has happened. I have watched it happen. I have asked questions and spoken about in the setting, in the room, when this has happened. I ask myself every single fucking day, am I providing value to my client? Or am I expecting the client to get the value out of it? Why am I doing this? What is my purpose? Am I doing this just for the money? Am I doing this just for myself? Or am I wanting to genuinely deliver results for the client? It can be all of those things, but what is your number one why? Why are you doing this? Why are you coaching? Be really, really honest with yourself. Why are you looking for a coach? What are you looking for in a coach? Why do you think you need one? Why do you feel you need one? Because it's when you know your why, whether you are the coach or somebody looking for one, when you know your why, you can make better decisions. In the sense of, when you know specifically the thing that you're wanting to learn or the thing that you want to be better at, you can find somebody who has embodied that, done it, and become that. If you want to be in a loving, long-term relationship and you want to learn how, choose a fucking coach who has been in a long-term, healthy, happy relationship. Yes, there are marriages that people have been together 20 years and unhappy. And there are people who've been together for 3 months and they're happy. Ask questions. The quality of the questions you ask determines the quality of your life. And so if you are seeking a coach, don't be sold to. Ask the questions so that you can see how the value for you and how you determine that value, if that can be met, and how they're going to help you get there, and what their expectations are of you, instead of you looking up to them and just saying, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, and then being disappointed at the end. Empower yourself to know that you wanting a coach is because you want something to be better and different. But when you come from an empowerment scenario or situation, rather than falling into the sales tactics that happen in a lot of this industry, you start to make better choices. This is not just about the coaches in this industry making better decisions, being more ethically aligned, being in integrity and authenticity, but it is also consumers having the education and knowledge to know how to ask questions and what to look for. The last 4 years, we've had major growth in the need for mental health support. And at the same time as being the most connected because of technology, we are also the most disconnected from each other. When you have an unregulated industry, plus natural human tendencies, people forget that we are fucking animals in the end, right? So greed, survival, manipulation, they're going to come out to play, especially in an unregulated industry. And as somebody who for the last couple of years has played in the Web3 world, NFTs, crypto, I've gone to conferences across the world. I've spoken on stages here in Australia around Web3 and NFT. One of the biggest things I learned was how something unregulated can become the wild, wild west. And people have lost millions in this Web3 world. And innovation requires this. Innovation requires things to, it's going to have extreme ups and downs as the pendulum learns where the middle ground is. An example, for instance, just dropping this in here, is solar panels were really, really expensive when they first came, right? It was really, really expensive. And then you got if you paid that investment, you got really, really great electricity prices. But now that it's become cheaper to put solar panels at your house, the rebate is not as great, right? And so anything new, any industry, the upside is if you are willing to be an early adopter and take the risk is higher, but the reward is usually higher at the same time. The coaching industry itself is here. We've gone through, so you've got your early adopters, you've got people who have capitalized on that, Tony Robbins being one of them and being seen as the leader, I guess, of personal development in the world. But you've now got this mass production. And I want to compare this to the education system because you cannot mass produce people. When you are in a people-based environment, you cannot mass produce people, whether that is early childhood and childcare centres, whether that is the schooling system and trying to get everybody to fit in a box. Coaching is a people-to-people business, and for it to be effective, you cannot mass produce coaches. You cannot mass produce results. So stop fucking promising that you can. Start getting real, because what we want as humans and what we need for our next evolution is truth, is authenticity, is integrity, and fucking trust. That disconnection that we've had where we have felt so connected on socials, yet we can be in a room of 100 people and feel the most disconnected than we've ever in our life. Trust is what we need. Trust in other humans. Because as a herd animal, we operate, we grow in a herd, not in our own silo, not on our own. Evolution has got us to a point, yes, where our nervous system gets fucked over when the aircon doesn't work. We get so wound up that it's so hot and I'm sweating, right? That's not the truth of where I am right now. But what I'm getting at is instead of your nervous system just being fucked for a second when you're being chased by a lion, you're now getting fucked by an aircon not working or somebody cutting you off in traffic. And the reason that I want to bring this into play is because this broken feeling, this disconnection, whether you're an internal or an external energetically, you're viewing yourself as not enough. You're viewing yourself as broken and you are looking outside of yourself for the answers. The reason effective coaching happens when it's great coaches is because they're able to tailor and ask questions to meet your individual needs, you as an individual. But if somebody is promising you and 100 or 1,000 other people the same results from the same thing, we've got a problem. Because you actually have to be set up. You actually have to have a foundation that is strong. Your nervous system needs to be able to cope with the questions or the content or whatever's being put in front of you. And if we can look at the personal development journey as the same as the education system, you go through a journey where you need to be able to intellectualize part of a concept. So whether that's, where I'm not good enough can come from, where in your childhood that might have been, or, for instance, addition before subtraction. You need to know the thing before the thing. So you'll have this intellectualized knowledge, then you can embody that and then move on to the next concept. And so a lot of people who are new to personal development and starting their journey, they're going into a room where there's lots of other people and they get caught up in the fear of missing out, FOMO. And I speak into values levels a lot, and I don't expect you to be able to make sense of it straight up. I do offer a course on values levels. Yeah, I know. I'm fucking selling to you while I'm talking about this, right? But I know it's of value. But when you can understand values levels and the difference between 3 and 5, you'll realize that in that room, when there's hundreds of people, that because you don't think you're good enough, you'll make decisions and say yes to things that don't feel right for you. Because that's how people sell. That's how it can feel that it's not aligned. Sales doesn't have to be scary, and sales doesn't have to be wrong and rude and gross and yuck. Allowing yourself to be sold to, it's okay. You can be curious, because the thing is that we are a herd animal, right? So we need other people. And the way in which we get to be the person we want to become faster is by allowing other people to help us. Not just asking for help, but also looking for it. So looking for people who will sell something to you that you need. Sales can become healthy when you know enough about yourself to say yes or no based off of knowing, based off of trust. And the problem we have in the coaching industry is that we have so many people who have only just started their journey coming out with a certificate that tells them they're a coach, yet they haven't done the work on themselves to know themselves enough to know when to say no to somebody and when to say yes to somebody. And they're so caught up in survival that they say yes to everybody, even when they know they are not the right person to serve that person. And these are the things that we need to fix in this industry for all of humanity, not just your business, not just so that you stop wasting money in investing in coaches. Investing in yourself will be the best investment you ever make. But if you can start investing in yourself from a place of knowing rather than hoping, you're going to shift everything. And this is how disruption occurs. Because people are already realizing what makes a high quality coach. And a high quality coach comes from somebody who has wisdom from lived experiences, integrity, the ability to communicate in a way that suits you and meets your needs. So they're able to basically break down a concept and translate it to, say, a 10-year-old, rather than using big words to make themselves sound more smart, more exciting. So their ability to communicate is really important. And also that willingness to say no to the money when they know the alignment is not right. And it is this critical piece that is going to be what shifts this industry, is when great coaches start saying no more than they say yes, so that they can actually be in alignment with their coaching and with their clients. Those clients get the results. That's when this industry changes. An example of this, of not being embodied, is when you have a coach who's just moved out of their parents' home and they're 18. It's the first time they've ever coached, and they're coaching you on a career transition, say to retirement. It has a higher chance of being a waste of money rather than a success. I said a higher chance of being a waste. Doesn't mean that's definitely going to be, right? But I hear a lot of people say, I'm a parent and I've got kids. I want a coach who's got kids. I want to be healthy, so I don't want to hire a coach who's fat. Cool. The thing is, right, is that there's a reality to all of this. Having a coach you on parenting when they've never had children is an example of potential misalignment. And the rates of perceived failure occurs more often than not. Relationship coaching is a really, really big one that's out there at the moment, where you've got people selling you relationship coaching who've never been in a healthy, long-term fucking relationship. Like, it's an actual problem. You can talk about the knowledge as a coach. You can talk about the things that you've learned and the parts that you've taken from all these different courses you've done. But if you have not embodied it, how can you stand in front of somebody and coach them on it when you don't know what it actually fucking feels like or what it takes? And so, yes, society is usually pessimistic in things. So we'll look at a coach like, well, what the fuck is a life coach? How can there be a 21-year-old life coach? 21-year-old life coaches who have their shit together will serve 21-year-olds, people in their teens, really fucking well, because they will be able to build rapport and they are relational to that age group. But a 21-year-old coaching somebody on how to have a healthy marriage when they've never been in one or around one, it's fucking wrong. Yeah, wrong. Absolute language, Rebecca's using it. Because the reason I believe it's wrong, and this gets to be in my opinion, right? You can do whatever you want with yours. It's okay if you don't agree with me. The reason it's wrong is because people are seeking out a coach for help. And you are coming from a place that is not embodied. You are just regurgitating knowledge and taking money for it from a place where it's not embodied. And you are ripping those people off. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You actually are. If you are a business coach, you're claiming to be a business coach just because, people with money in businesses tend to spend more money than the individual person. If you are a business coach and you've never built a fucking business, how the fuck do you guide somebody on something you haven't done yourself? Actually, do you know what it's like to be under a desk and not be able to fucking pay payroll? Do you? Do you know what it's like to be spending 18 hours in front of the fucking computer and your wife wanting to leave you because you're never home? Or the sacrifices that you make by not being out with your friends at their 21st birthdays? Like, these are all choices, right? But just because you built a business, and I'm putting that in fucking brackets because you might have built where you can earn enough from a salary. You've built yourself a job. But if you have not built a business that has products or services, has a team that person has to lead, you are not a fucking business coach. Stop trying to be something for yourself. Get really real about the reasons why you're doing it, because it's this embodiment. This is what's happening. This is what is going to transform this industry, is that the people who truly embody the things that they talk about are going to be able to get past the shiny object syndrome shit that the last decade has had on this growth. So humanity needs coaches, but we're also fucking waking up. And so people who are looking for coaches, they're getting smarter, because there's people like me who are starting to talk about the elephants in the fucking room so that people can actually have the education to know what to look for in a coach. And I am somebody who says no. There are people I say no to. And sometimes I question myself. I know that I could help them, but not with where they are right now, or not in the thing that they're coming with me for, because I haven't embodied that yet. And maybe I won't. But the thing is, I'm willing to say no to money, because this is not about the money. This is actually about the impact that I want to have on the world and on people, from first breath to last. And so I believe completely in the Life by 8 framework and the Life by 8. People can take that curriculum and DIY it themselves. And the solutions that I have and I'm creating are for everybody, whether you have fuck all money or you are super rich, whatever it is, there will be something for you. But the reason for that is because I want everybody, no matter where they're at, to have access to changing their life, to have education that helps them design a life that gets them out of survival and into thriving. Because that is what the fucking coaching industry should be doing. That is what we are here for, to help people get to where they want to be. Learn how to ask questions when you're looking for a coach, and as a coach, get better at asking better questions to make sure that you know why you're doing what you're doing, and that when you say yes, you are saying a full body yes, a full embodied yes, not just I'm going to say yes because I want the money and I'm fucking living in scarcity, because you're going to fuck shit up for you long term and for the people that you work with when you are saying yes when you know you should be saying no. So I know it's been a bit of a rant, right? I'm super fucking passionate about this because I'm so sick of people losing money and losing faith and being in a worse off position than before they started their journey, that they never ever pick it up and go again, that their journey has put on more armor than actually getting the vulnerability to take the armor off. So ask about their experience. Ask the coach, what is it? How have you done this before? What would you think for me? What do you think we would do? How would we get to the outcome? What is the solution? It is your responsibility to do your due diligence and to ask the questions rather than to be sold to. I know, but I fucking just want to externalize the responsibility onto someone else. You want help, but come from an empowered state. Because if you don't come from the empowered state by asking those questions and you just get stuck in FOMO, right, you feeling like you're fucked over is partly your responsibility. All right? You can't just externalize that responsibility onto the other people. People will take advantage of it, absolutely. But you can come from a more empowered state. Read your own energy. Read theirs, and how is their energy going to help yours and serve you rather than drain you? How is it going to put you into a more energy-rich state? The innovation comes from people demanding that value rather than being expected to pull the value completely out themselves. An example of this, you could buy a fucking vacuum from Kmart. That's $100. It is not going to clean as well as a Dyson. That might be $1,000. Like, it's actual fact. It's not just the ads that they do on TV when they put the fake dirt on the fucking thing and they do the example. When you actually have tested both of those, you could see the quality is there, right? So there's a known value. The thing is, though, is that what happens in the coaching industry is not what happens everywhere else. In the coaching industry, though, we are now getting to the point of a known value proposition, as in there is an expected standard and a settling of the pendulum. So we've gone from this cowboy stuff to the extreme, right? People over-delivering and people under-delivering and people expecting the client to take all of the responsibility versus now starting to get into that point where in other industries we have that expected standard where when you pay for this and when you ask for this, you are going to get that. Not this is what I'm selling to you, but this is what you get. It's going to be more in alignment, and there's going to be a expectation from consumers that the coach is actually going to deliver in a way and what they actually said they would deliver. Consumers are becoming more aware and people are becoming more conscious in their decision making, right? The coaching industry initially started to help more people, but it also changed the collective conscious. So you're welcome. You're here right now. You've got the knowledge. Consumers are getting smarter as they go through this process. The supplier, yes, you, if you're a coach, you need to take some fucking responsibility for the quality of the product you deliver. Stop wiping your hands clean, blaming them and putting it all onto the customer. When a customer asks for a refund, sometimes you know that the client didn't do the work. And sometimes you know you didn't actually fucking deliver the thing that you said you would. And so get really real and get really honest, because the only way this is going to work and the only way that we are going to change humanity is by people starting to trust each other. Trust is required. And so if you want to stand out as a coach, start living in authenticity, start having integrity, start knowing what ethics looks like for you, and start delivering to your fucking client. Start taking on that feedback. Stop taking it personally and start building something that is going to change this world, because this is going to happen more and more. You don't start doing this, you are going to be fucking lost like Polaroid. You need to innovate. You need to become in full alignment with yourself. You need to be different. And it's actually, how funny is it that you need to be completely yourself to be different from everybody else? Fucking weird, hey? So AI is here and people are starting to use it. This is another way that the coaching industry is going to be disrupted. It's going to create some great coaching businesses. And the embedding of technology in this industry is going to be huge. We have been working here at Life by 8 on an AI life coach called Frank. He's named after a koala that jumped onto my child. I know it's a random story. I'll tell you about it another day. But the reason for this is when we have been in our early childhood centres, what we need is a way to answer, I guess, questions that are the most frequently asked, but in ways that are from our knowledge base. And so the AI, having a life coach, allows for a blanket solution for the first parts of somebody's journey, because they're usually pretty much the same steps that people are coming into. And then if the AI coach can't actually answer the question, then it'll come specifically so one of our coaches can answer it. So we're using AI to help more people and distribute that energy and that education to more people who may be at different price points, right? And then we've got a growing industry and technology that AI is going to allow more individualized examples, more individualized coaching on a scalable solution. You can't scale yourself when you are the one coach and having hundreds of people in front of you. You will need to have a way in which you can deliver things in a more specific, nuanced, individualized solution. Disruption is coming. You've seen it over the years. You've seen it with Airbnb. You've seen it with Uber. You've seen it with Canva. It's happening everywhere. So what's great about disruption is individualized programs for clients in more efficient ways, reducing the price of services so people can now impact and get impact in their lives at a different price point than what it has traditionally been. So if your business model as a coach has been on one-on-ones at higher price points and you're not delivering, you're going to be Polaroid and left behind. The future expectations, and this one is what I'm going to finish on. The future expectations, empires are no longer going to be built on the back of fucking slaves. I went to the Colosseum and I was in tears because this has been something that I have sat with for so fucking long, that how many people use other people to build their empire. It's going to stop. As regulation comes into play, there is going to be less people volunteering their fucking weeks and days and nights to help other people grow their empire without a clear value exchange. And I'm really positive about this. The growth in the industry is going to come and it's going to happen. And these changes will come as regulation has come into play and has helped other industries as well. And I'm excited and terrified at the same time. But what I'm excited about is you realizing your potential, is you becoming aware of where you may be living out of alignment and where you get the chance now to actually live life completely and wholly as you are, and to start actually being all of that. Because when you are all of you, you start to deliver all of you to others, and that impact is not just going to be on you and your life and the abundance you live in, but that impact is why coaching is so powerful in the first place. The impact that you will have on others when you fully embody everything that you are and know, and stop trying to be something that you're not. Let me know how you feel. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know any questions that you have. Start valuing yourself. Start embodying yourself. And if you're looking up to people in this industry and you're not getting the value exchange that feels equal, it doesn't have to be monetary. But imagine what it would be like if you spent 7 days, 12 hours a day working on your own business instead of building the empire for somebody else. What would that mean for you? And what would that mean for your own community? Let me know your thoughts.
Thank you for joining me living life by 8. If this episode hit home, brought value to you in any way, I would love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform too. And don't let your journey end here. Connect with me and my community at Rebecca Grugan on all social platforms. I look forward to going deeper with you on your journey.